Hey guys, we're back in Seafarer. Fun little game, Seafarer The Ship Simulator. And if you don't know anything about the game itself, I'll pop a link in the top right hand corner for my first look that I did yesterday on the game. Just a basic look through the tutorials and, getting warmed up to the game. But this is about my 5th or 6th hour that I've had playing the career mode, and I've learned a lot of things. I've aggregated a lot of good comments from the previous YouTube video I did on the game and other sources online to make just a kind of quick tip and trick guide or starter guide to the game, because I was confused about a lot of things as well. Thankfully, we have the wealth of the internet to look at to figure some things out. So we'll go over some of those today, and just some extra things, what I've learned along the way in my 5th or 6th hour here on Seafarer. But let's get into it. All right, so one of the first things we're going to get into is the performance of the game, which is not great. It definitely could be optimized. Some people are having worse times than others. That goes without being said because, well, we all have different hardware, right? So one of the things you can do if you are DX12 compatible is go to the game location on your Steam library, go to properties, and in the launch options, type in -DX12. You can give that a test. I would highly recommend you have the latest drivers. I'm using NVIDIA, for example, but whether it's AMD, NVIDIA, yada yada. You could put a couple more things in here as far as like maybe cores, use all cores, things like that. Just some various launch options. But I've used this with pretty good success for those of you that may be familiar with other games such as Train Sim World in the past, where I've put in DX12 and it's actually given me much better performance. So that's one of the things you can try performance-wise. All right, we are on the bridge of my cargo ship, currently looking at the ships going in and out, but continuing with the performance. So we'll hit escape, go to options. Now, this has been noted from the developer themselves within the Steam page, and I believe on their Discord as well. Try messing around with your anti-aliasing settings. I've tried a lot of these. They've even said try turning it off and back on, which may or may not give you performance. Maybe restart the game. I've tried all of them. Not only do they not look great via FXAA, obviously. I mean, if you upscale to 4K, FXAA can look just fine, to be completely clear there. But I've just got it at 100% on my 1440p native. So I'm keeping it on TAA. Some people have gotten success using TSR or FSR. But I'm just keeping it on TAA for now. Again, if you didn't see my last video, I'm running a 1440p on a 4070 Ti with 12 GB of VRAM. I've got a 5800X CPU and 64 gigs of system memory. So pretty basic. None of that is very new at all. Several years old as far as equipment. But one of the big things you can do as far as the distance, or the view distance anyways, you can boot that down one. That may help you a little bit. Texture quality, again, the game isn't going to look fantastic if you boot that down one or two. That may help. But one of the biggest things that the developer noted is taking the global illumination down. So I did have it at epic and I took it down to high. There is a slight noticeable difference, but it's not the end of the world. It's not horrible. Your mileage may vary, obviously, but try a few of those things. They note to keep VSync off as well. All right, we are on the bridge of my cargo ship, currently looking at the ships going in and out, but continuing with the performance. So we'll hit escape, go to options. Now, this has been noted from the developer themselves within the Steam page, and I believe on their Discord as well. Try messing around with your anti-aliasing settings. I've tried a lot of these. They've even said try turning it off and back on, which may or may not give you performance. Maybe restart the game. I've tried all of them. Not only do they not look great via FXAA, obviously. I mean, if you upscale to 4K, FXAA can look just fine, to be completely clear there. But I've just got it at 100% on my 1440p native. So I'm keeping it on TAA. Some people have gotten success using TSR or FSR, but I'm just keeping it on TAA for now. Again, if you didn't see my last video, I'm running a 1440p on a 4070 Ti with 12 GB of VRAM. I've got a 5800X CPU and 64 gigs of system memory. So pretty basic. None of that is very new at all. Several years old as far as equipment. But one of the big things you can do as far as the distance, or the view distance anyways, you can boop that down one. That may help you a little bit. Texture quality, again, the game isn't going to look fantastic. If you boop that down one or two, that may help. But one of the biggest things that the developer noted is taking the global illumination down. So I did have it at Epic, and I took it down to high. There is a slight noticeable difference, but it's not the end of the world. It's not horrible. Your mileage may vary, obviously, but try a few of those things. They note to keep VSync off as well. So I've just got a note, just tips and tricks aside, but just stuff that I've found from playing the game quite a bit so far. As the map is pretty girthy. I'm assuming these red areas will be unlocked at some point, because it looks like this almost reminds me of the the sea between the UK and maybe Norway or something like that, and Germany and France. It kind of has that vibe, but it's fictional, obviously. But the north up here looks like a very cold northern sea, which I'm assuming we will get unlocked at some point in time. Some nice icy and snowy sea conditions, and holy crap, this port has got a lot going on there. But I've noticed just a lot of AI traffic that is quite varied. So it's, the 6 ships that you can pilot in the game are not the only ships in the game. There's this thing here which looks like a ferry, like a car ferry of some sort. First time I've seen that ship right there directly in front of us. Got a bulk carrier coming into dock there. I have no clue what kind of ship that thing is there, but it's very interesting looking. It's got like a schnoz on the bow that looks like it sucks stuff up or dumps stuff out. That's an interesting looking ship there. I've actually never seen one of those. But the ports vary as well. You've got different types of ships, and it is just a nice looking game overall. I've also noticed that some of the containers are actually branded. So, myself being a big train sim fan, and of course flight sim and things like that, it's always nice when you get legit branding. And I was walking down the deck here earlier, and I saw that it actually said Hapag-Lloyd, which is a big shipping company, obviously, and that's one of the containers up there, Hapag-Lloyd. We can't really see it from here, and there we go. Sure enough, it's the legit branding and everything, so that's pretty damn cool. Now in the bridge of the ship near the helm, let's go over some of the things you'll do. So once you get through your 2 tutorials that kind of give you the ins and outs of how the game works and what route you want to go, I obviously chose cargo initially, which I'm still doing here. From there, you'll go to your tablet to accept jobs. So you simply hit the T key, and it brings you the jobs that you have on offer here. You can also receive messages here. I've not received any, so I'm not sure what that's all about. But jobs are as follows. It tells you about the jobs, yada yada. It tells you how much money or credits you will receive, as well as XP. One of the neat things about this is if you need some quick money right off the rip and you don't want to take a voyage across the sea, you can actually just take quick dock and ship loading jobs, which I actually just did before recording this video, where you basically load like 8 containers, you get on the ship, you tie them down, you lash them up, and it nets you a good amount of money. Now, it does not net you a lot of XP as a full-on voyage, but it nets you a quick amount of money. And money will be needed, which is the point that we'll get into next, which is, let's go back into our tablet. So when I was first playing, some of these voyages take over an hour, or half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, probably an hour and a half, probably 2 hours when they unlock the entirety of the map. And I was wondering, where the hell is automatic navigation? Where's autopilot, essentially? All ships nowadays essentially use it, right? So you basically unlock, once you progress a little ways, you do a couple of missions, you sail, several nautical miles, your progress will bump up. You can see I'm level 6, getting close to level 7 here. It also shows you what you unlock per the next level, which is cool, as well as money. So you get money when you unlock as well. But one of the things you can do when I believe you get to level 3 is hire a crew. And I've currently got Angelica Murphy hired as my officer. But in hindsight, and we'll go over that in just a minute as to why I think, in hindsight, maybe not should have done that. I basically hired her anyway. As you can see over here, you can hire for certain amounts of money to be a helmsman, basically. So that's how you get AI to take over the ship and sail from point A to point B. So to do that, you would go to your map with the M key. Then you would hit the enter key, or you can actually go down here and click plan waypoints. And you would just plot out with the cursor the left mouse button. I can't do it right now because I'm in port and it says I would go over land. But you plot out your route, and then you basically would go into your wheel here, and then go over to crew, and then hit assign task. And it shows the wheel, or the helm, right? The helm of the ship. So it would assign that person, your crew, to steer the ship and control the ship. What kind of stinks about that currently, as there she is over here. She usually says weird things when I come near. Yep, there you go. Ahoy. She's got like 3 or 4 things she'll say. It's interesting. It's like those Halloween things that scare you when you walk into a store. It's kind of like that. That's what she does. But anyway, they go full on, 100% full throttle, and that does use a lot more fuel. Right? It makes sense. It's like if you were in your car, your motorbike, whatever the hell, and you're full throttle, it's going to use a lot more throttle than if you're just using 3/4 or half, etc. So hopefully they will tweak that, because I have ran into some issues, and actually 2 missions where I've completely run out of fuel and I had to be towed into port, which really sucks. So hopefully that will get fixed. But that being said, another thing you can do is upgrade your ship. So not only can you purchase other ships, as you can see, I can purchase the Rigid right here, the police boat, if I would like. Later on, the Archer, the Bernard, the Density, and the Lancer. Of course, those are higher levels. I've got to unlock the Density for, I guess, level 8, and then the Lancer for level 20. But this is our ship right here, and as you can see right here, it says level up. So I've currently got it leveled up twice. It tells you the price to level it up, 4,500 credits, and it will bump up things like your engine power, which helps. You can get there quicker, maneuver the ship quicker, a little bit better max speed. So I was at 14 knots. I think this will bump it up to 16. Shows your operating hours on said ship and your fuel consumption. So that is a big one. The better you have your ship leveled up, of course, you know, it's going to come down to XP and credits that you have to spend largely. The better time you'll have getting from point A to point B and not running out of fuel. It also shows a maintenance level. I'm not sure what exactly happens with that. I think you may need an engineer crewed to help with that as well. But let's go ahead and level up to level 3 and see what changes. Kabloomers. Alright, so that took quite a bit of money. I'm down to just under 8,000 credits. We are 3-starred. The next level up is 13,000, which is quite a bit. But, so, yeah, we leveled up quite a bit. Uses 5 less liters per hour of fuel, which is good. Like I said, fuel is a big deal in this. You need to watch out. You need to look when you're accepting a job where the job is. If it's too far, you will definitely run out of fuel. That being said, you also need to make sure that you have fuel. When I first took my first job with this ship, when I started playing out of the tutorials, I didn't refuel the ship like an idiot. I got maybe a mile out of the port and ran out of fuel, and that sucked. So to simply fuel up, you have to be docked and at port, and you're going to come over here to the left hand side, top left, and you'll see your fuel, hull condition, and durability. So it tells you right here, you basically left click, and you can get just a tiny amount of fuel if you would like. Boom, boom, boom. But just keep tapping it, and it'll go all the way. It does take money as well, as does pretty much everything in this game, like in real life. halt condition, you can repair it as well. So kind of, obviously not dry dock it, but just weld some things up, fix some things, stuff like that. Engine durability as well. It's currently at plus 21%, I'm assuming, from the upgrades to the ship itself. But I'm going to go ahead and make that tip top. Another big issue is the engines. So, you know, these are big engines pushing a very heavy, very large ship, and they will wear out. You know, they'll overheat. You'll need to refill them with oil, etc., etc. This area right here shows you where you can basically keep an eye on things. On this ship in particular, there is also a spot. Let's go back to the bridge where you can go. Oh, Jesus, she always scares me. You can actually go over here and keep an eye on the metrics as well for the engine. But one of the big deals, let's go ahead and go back to the engine room. One of the big deals with this is parts, because man, this has happened to me as well. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned from those mistakes. So if you don't have parts and equipment to repair these engines in your ship, you're SOL. You're going to be stuck out at sea. You're going to have to be towed again, and it's not going to be optimal. So again, to make sure you have parts, come back, hit the T for your tablet, go to fleet, top left or just left side. You'll see over here you've got resources: fuel filter, coolant, air, and engine oil. So you can see I've actually used a bit more coolant. So one of my engines, my port engine's been running a bit hot for some reason. It's kind of neat. I kind of enjoy that, the randomness. I kind of wish there was a bit more randomness, you know, just things happen, obviously. But we're going to go ahead and bump these up as well. I'm going to get about 15 of each just to be safe. That should be okay for a small voyage. And that's it. So we're topped up. That means if you run out of something at sea, you're down here in the engine room, because it has definitely happened to me. You run out of fuel. I think that's the coolant tube right there. You don't have any coolant. Guess what? It's just going to be broken. Your performance is not going to be good. The engine might outright die. I think, is this the oil down here? Where's the, there it is, there's the hip box. You can check the oil, nothing going on there. There's your air filter on that big old turbo, twin turbskis, big old air snails, turbos, kick ass. But you got your fuel filters and all that other good stuff. So you definitely want to make sure that you have got everything you need before a voyage. Make sure you're fueled up and you've got resources. Something else you can do is skip time, which I did not know until I was just looking around the ship, like I like to do during these long voyages when there's not much else to do. But it's kind of what's cool about this game. You've got the small jobs, and then you've got the long jobs that are almost like flight sim or train sim in a sense, where you can maybe have a second monitor on watching, you know, YouTube or whatever the hell, just doing something else, work or schoolwork or whatever. That's kind of what's cool about this game. It kind of takes care of itself to some degree, but you can. All right, thank you once again. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you. See what she says.
Ahoy!
Yeah, so she's got like 4 or 5 things she says. Time your clock on the wall. You can actually hit that. It says ship must be anchored to use the clock. So we are moored up over here. Let's see if we can figure out how to anchor this bad boy. We'll hit the key. Alright, we should be anchored up. Let's see if we can go ahead and skip time here, see what it does. I think it may change jobs. I rightly don't know. I know you can do it though, so we're kind of learning this together. So you can see these 3 jobs that are currently on offer for this type of ship. Let's hit the wait key. Current time 4:30. Wait for how long? Let's do 2 hours, right about sunset. Let's hit accept. And there we go. It is basically gone to dusk. The sun is setting. I'm not sure what that's all about. You know, maybe if you don't want to sail at night, or you don't want to sail during the day, or you want to get some different jobs, or what have you. But let's look and see. Okay, we did only wait 2 hours, but it looks like the same exact jobs are there. So let's go ahead and grab a job. I'm going to load the ship up.
Captain?
We're going to go to our next port of call and drop some stuff off. And we'll kind of mess with the auto nav, or AI, if you will, to steer your ship if you just want to have a walkabout, look around, maybe fix your engine, etc. Follow up and probably last of the tips is the auto nav or autopilot to get a crew member to helm this thing on their own. So we're out at sea in the middle of the map going to whatever port this is. Statak. We're going to change view, go to inside. I've currently got it just dead ahead at about half throttle. I'm going to release the helm and we'll go ahead and bring up the radial. We'll go to crew, assign task, and boom, there she goes. So she's on it. It's currently no throttle because there is nowhere to go, nowhere that I have set. So to do that, I'm going to go to the map. We'll zoom in a bit here. We'll play in waypoints and we'll just do a small kind of slalom course deal here just to see if she follows it. And so it is set. End route planning. There we go. You can hear her throttle up almost immediately. But it is full throttle. Now they do seem to keep the course. Hello. Hi. Once again, they do seem to keep the course that you have set in the game pretty fluidly, which is nice. But it does consume a lot of fuel. So if you're, on the ocean, at sea, doing a job, whatever, click on fleet, you can actually see your durability, your hull condition, and your fuel. And let's see, let's go back to the map. Fuel is a big one. So resource consumption right here. So it's showing me right now this tiny course that I have set with the AI or someone at the helm for me, a crew member. It's showing that it's only going to use 3% fuel or 1% engine, etc. The longer you have that spanned out. So for example, I had a job earlier where I went from, I think I went from this port here, Hellinghagen, to, I believe it was this one, Crescent Port, and it was about a 35-minute haul in real time, and I had a boat full of fuel. I set it on autopilot the whole way. She used every bit of it. I ran out of fuel right in the bay right here. It was a friggin' nightmare, but it happened. So you gotta keep an eye on your resource consumption. Make sure you're topped up with your fuel, obviously. And if you want to just sit at the helm yourself, steer the boat yourself, that'll probably save you a lot of fuel. You can obviously cut corners too, but you do want to make sure that where you're at, that the channels and whatnot aren't too shallow. So you do want to keep a look at your sounder and your radar, obviously, for other ships and things like that. Although right now, like I said in the first video I made, 0.2 nautical miles is nothing for a radar, which is insane, but that's what it starts you out with. But another thing you can do, which is pretty cool, so we'll hit T again, go to fleet, you've got your equipment. So for example, there's your sounder there. It will upgrade the sounder. It can read farther, deeper depths, things like that. I assume you can upgrade your maps for like better, charting, oceanography, topography, things like that. Eventually, I can't upgrade that yet. Binoculars you can upgrade. I've not yet upgraded that. Radar, I think that's the big one. And then, of course, searchlight. So I'm definitely going to upgrade the searchlight so you can see a bit better, because I did notice in one of the jobs, which you can't see right now because I'm doing a job, is you have to help the Marine Guard or whatever. So I'm assuming you'll need a searchlight. You can see that there's kind of searchlights up here mounted, but they don't do anything at the moment. So that's how you upgrade equipment on your ship. I'm not sure what VHF radio does quite yet either. Maybe you can get hauled into a port of your choice or something like that. I'm not totally sure, but I think that's going to just about cover it today, guys. Just a few tips and tricks to get you underway, get you started. And Seafarer, it's a pretty fun game. I'm finding it fairly enjoyable. Like I said, it's similar to Construction Sim. They could tweak some things performance-wise, but right now I'm getting pretty much rock solid 60 FPS. So check out some of those performance tweaks if you can. Hi, once again. Make sure you've got the latest driver and all that good stuff. And I think that is going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully see you out on the high seas next time. Thanks, Teddy, for ruining the outro. Fish sandwiches. See you guys. Ta-ta.